Bobby Broyles and Tim McDonald here. Should be a really interesting matchup.
Buckle up. If you're not watching, you got some problems.
Back for more of 12 Teams in 12 Days, presented by Geico. Bobby Broyles here along with Tim McDonald. Today is all about the Phoenix of Elon. Coach Rich Skrosky's squad bounced back nicely last season, highlighted by a 3-win turnaround from the year before, including picking up its first conference victory as a member of CAA Football.
Yeah, everyone wants to look to that game, and of course it's the first conference win in CAA Football, but it is. And four wins on paper might not seem that huge, but to us and people who know Elon and that transition into CAA Football, it is a big deal. Heading into your third year, you win one game all of 2014. You don't win a conference game. Come back last season, you beat Towson, you beat Stony Brook, and you beat Maine. All not easy wins, let alone conference wins. But again, I think it's just something you look up and down the roster. It's a common theme. Youth is a common theme of these teams right now, the early teams in this. Ironically, it's these teams who need to keep progressing and moving forward. Youth is a common factor. Look at Elon's roster heading into 2016. Well over 40 players are redshirt freshmen or true freshmen. It just tells me that Coach Rich Skrosky is a guy who's planning. He's still implementing his system, still implementing the recruits that he wants to get, still getting the guys that he wants to get. But again, you go back to last year, it's great. You beat Towson at home, a huge game. Arguably, that win kept Towson out of the playoffs. If Towson beats Elon in that game, they're likely in the playoffs. Just goes to show you how much Elon is improving. Again, then you play New Hampshire, Richmond, James Madison, Stony Brook, and William & Mary. Yes, you beat Stony Brook, but that's what you signed up for. That's what CAA Football is. It's a week in and week out grind. 0 wins in year 1, 3 wins in year 2. I think Coach Rich Skrosky's squad can only start moving forward and implementing his type of system and his type of team in 2016.
In Baltimore for Media Day, we had a chance to speak with Coach Skrosky about expectations for year 3.
We do. When I took the job going into 3 years now, there was really a 5-year plan. And to be able to improve, as you had said, improve by 3 games in the win column last year was definitely the strides that we were hoping to make. And as we go into 2016, we're hoping that we could continue to make those same strides. We're going to be a relatively young roster, but it's really, I'm excited about the challenge that we have ahead of us. We know how tough a conference we play in and week out, you got to bring your A game. So we're looking forward to 2016.
The offense last year had a pair of young quarterbacks in Daniel Thompson and Connor Christensen. Both played as freshmen and immediately earned a lot of playing time during their first full season. Can we expect the same 2 guys under center again?
I think you can. I think that's the golden answer. I mean, again, we talk about Skrosky and what he's trying to build. We know he's an offensive guy. We know he's a guy who is going to get along with the quarterbacks, is probably going to work extra with the quarterbacks. But Thompson and Christensen are 2 guys. Christensen, obviously a lefty, a little bit different. I think he throws the ball a little bit better. Just over 1,200 yards last year. Again, only threw for 7 touchdowns, but I think to get thrown into that starting role as a redshirt freshman, you're going to be asked a lot. Then you have a kid in Thompson who enrolled in the spring last year, was a true freshman, also asked to play. Both played a lot, which is good coming back to this team. Obviously, that's a positive that Skrosky and this offense are going to take in, but when you think of the offense, the point totals there, 13.4 points per game, that's going to be hard to keep up with any team. Last in the CAA in rushing offense, 73.5 yards per game. Basically, the entire offensive line is back in 2016. All the wide receivers are back. Great news. You have 2 quarterbacks. Better to have 2 quarterbacks who can play and have already played than have none at all. But again, that's 73 yards rushing per game. No running backs who we know of really that can come in and say we're going to rush for 500, rush for 600 yards. That's someone who we're probably going to find out as the fall progresses. I think for this offense, it's just a question of getting the run game first, getting the passing game first, moving into that rush game. Let the run game come when it happens. Only 7 rushing touchdowns as a team last year. We know Rich Skrosky, like we said, is keeping planning as an offensive guy. I think it'll just move along for Elon in 2016. It might be slow but steady.
Coach Skrosky spoke in depth about his 2 quarterbacks. Take a listen.
Well, Connor knows this. He needs to improve in every way of his game, every facet of his game. Getting all that experience that he did last year, bringing him here today, and that's all part of the process. For him, we're giving him every opportunity to win this starting job, and he's really done a great job this offseason throughout the summer as we head into camp. Having 2 quarterbacks that played a lot of football last year, there's a comfortability in that, and there's no question. I've said this numerous times. Connor Christensen and Daniel Thompson, there's probably not two guys that I want to represent our program more than them. They're phenomenal people. They got great leadership skills. And now they got to develop on the field. And I know they've had great off seasons. I'm really anxious to see what they do once camp gets going.
Switching over for a look at the Phoenix schedule, Elon stays in its home state of North Carolina for 6 of the team's first 7 games, 5 of them being at home.
I think that's only going to help Elon moving forward, trying to progress. You look at the familiarity of playing in your home state. Again, some of those games are away, but it's teams that you know. It's teams that you're becoming more comfortable with. Talking with Connor Christensen at Media Day, and the players of Elon, it's just a comfortability thing. They're playing Stony Brook, playing Villanova. This was something that in college and the years before, Elon never had to do this. I think it's something that's going to come along easier and easier each year for Elon. Look at that in-state, another game. Gardner-Webb, a team that Elon played last year, won in 3 overtimes on the road. Game 2 is an FBS opponent in Charlotte. A lot more manageable to play Charlotte. No disrespect to the 49ers, but a lot more manageable than a Power 5 team. So I think that's a great FBS matchup. Then you get Villanova, New Hampshire, and Richmond at home to start October. Great news. We're all at home. It's going to be great. We're going to be playing in Elon. But the bad news is those are some really, really good teams to come to your home stadium. Again, it's better to play at home in CAA football than playing on the road. Still going to be a very tough stretch. And you look at William Mary the week before. So, again, that's just CAA football at all of its grace right there. I think year in and year out, it's just something you're going to have to get used to if you're Elon. The biggest takeaway I got talking with Rich Skrosky, he knows what's ahead of him. He knows how much of a challenge this is. Kept on bringing it up, but it's an amazing stat. Over 70% of this entire roster has 3+ years of eligibility remaining. Goes to show you that it's a guy who knows his plan moving forward and knows what he wants to do. It might take some time, but they're going to get there.
Like we said, Elon opens the 2016 season at home versus Gardner-Webb on Saturday, September the 3rd at 3:30. You can catch this game live on ASN and CA.TV.
And as we just talked about earlier in July at Media Day, we caught up with Elon players Connor Christensen and John Salas. Ask them about their game day experiences, some of their rituals. You can watch both of those features now on CAFootball.com and through all of our social media platforms.
Moving along here with our 12 teams in 12 days series presented by Geico. And next we'll preview James Madison and new head coach Mike Houston. That's all from us today. He's Tim McDonald. I'm Bobby Broyles. We'll see you tomorrow.